Hey guys, it is the 29th of December, and today is day number, I believe it's day number 9 of my 366-day consecutive days of Facebook Live. And, some of you guys might be wondering, why in the heck am I doing 366 days in a row of Facebook Live? Well, I asked myself the same question, kind of, but really what it is, I was explaining this to somebody today. you know, when I reached 304 pounds and was, just really believed I could never lose the weight that I was carrying. I'm 5'11", and I was 55 years old when I reached that point. The thought of sticking to something and getting my weight off, and it was going to take months and months to do it. Even though I did it in 260 days, I lost 129 pounds in 260 days. And I don't say that ever to brag or boast. I should never have been 304 pounds to start with. But the thought of a lot of individuals that watch me and, and follow me in this journey that I'm on, really this mission, is that so many people, the days just look overwhelming that they've got ahead of them. They're not. They go quickly. And so, because it's going to take you, as we say in the South, it's going to take you a minute to get the weight off. If you've got 100 pounds or 50 pounds or 200 or 300 pounds to lose. And so 366 days is the least that I could do to encourage you on your journey. And, tonight I want to talk to you about how I ran away from weight loss, but I couldn't hide the weight. And, every night I begin it the same way. I tell you where I started, and I alluded to it just a minute ago, but in 2017, at age 55, I stepped on the scale and I saw 304 pounds staring back at me. And that 300 mark for me, it might as well been 600 pounds. It was just this insurmountable amount of weight that I'd gained, and I couldn't believe I'd let myself get in that situation. I had a lot of success in my life, had a gorgeous wife, 4 successful children. They're younger, not babies, but 15 to 27. They were, 3 of them were grown, and a lot of things were going really, really well for me, but I could not beat this demon that I had, this of weight. And I tried just like 1,000, it seemed like it was honestly about 75, 80 different diets that I tried, some of them multiple times. My wife, Angie, she pulled a bunch of books out the other day. She's doing, kind of that beginning of the year cleaning, end of the year cleaning, and she was going through some stuff and said, "You want to get rid of these?" I said, "Oh no, don't get rid of those." Not because I'm going back to the books, just because they really kind of marked a point in my life. Just they were great reminders, just stacks and stacks of diet books. I could have written them. I could have written my own book on dieting. But the diet was never the issue. And when I stood there on that scale and I saw 304 staring back at me that morning, it just was like I realized that I was likely going to be dead in less than 10 years. And that I was really not gonna, I was gonna be known really as my wife's first husband, because she'd be living, she's a gorgeous woman, she'd be alive. She would probably hang out, and do the morning for a season, but she'd have a lot of suitors around wanting to date her. And so I would be known as the first husband because I was dead, and that really got in my brain. And it was really because I believe it was the truth if I hadn't done something about it. And when I, really started facing the fact that diets had never worked and exercise had never worked. I mean, I tried all these different things and it just didn't work. And it was so disheartening. But it was never, and I say this a lot, but it was never the diet. It was always the decision. And I made that decision that day. And what happened over the next 260 days was I went on a public journey and lost 129 pounds in 260 days. This battle that I'd had with obesity that lasted most of my adult life at some level was conquered in 8 months. And I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nutritionist. not a dietitian. I'm not a physical fitness expert, but I'm this guy that figured my way through the wilderness of obesity and made it to the other side. And now I help individuals that struggle with obesity. Primarily help men. My wife Angie and I, because she went on a journey too. She lost 63 pounds, 192 pounds in 260 days total, and she lost hers much quicker because she had less to lose. But it was really this shift that happened, and for both of us. And so we help men and women, but mainly men. Right now is what I do, and I really do it from the standpoint of not so much about, listen, if you're looking for a diet, man, there's like a zillion of them. If you're looking to make a decision to really change something different's got to happen. And I really took an out of the box approach, I believe, to weight loss, and it worked, and it's working for other people. I'm like, dang. It works for other people. It's a simple process that seems weird to a lot of people that get in my program, but they get in it and all of a sudden they get this momentum. And it's the coolest thing you've ever seen. They've got power that they didn't know they had. I've got guys, and I'm not saying this to boast, and I didn't really get on to talk about this tonight, but it's so much fun to watch them when they realize that their weight was this issue that was holding them back in so many areas. And it's never, I tell the guys all the time, it's never about getting a 32-inch waist and 6-pack abs. I want that for you if that's what you want. It's for really becoming the superhero in your own story. And you can do it with your fork by putting it down. And people say, what is this guy talking about? I mean, doesn't he have like a 50 different things to eat and not eat? No, because that's not your answer. It wasn't mine. It may be yours, but it wasn't mine. And it's not the men that I talk to. We all know what to do. It's the doing it that's the hard part. But I think the biggest thing that I want to talk about tonight, I mean, the fact that when I was, how many diets I ran from, the diet was always the culprit. I would find out about, especially this time of year, because this time of year it's always, golly, coming up on New Year's Day, you got to come up with a new diet and get your resolution so you can stick to it for an hour or three. And I would, look for these solutions because I wanted it to be painless. I really did. And I wanted it to be easy. And I wanted to not change anything that I was doing so I could have all the food that I wanted when I wanted it. And so I went from diet to diet, and I would stick to some of them for a week at a time. Well, I'd lose 7-8 pounds in a week. Wow. A lot of water weight there, by the way. And I thought, dang, this is where I got it this time. And then I'd run from it because it got hard. And I would go from diet to diet, just really running from the diet. And the diet was always the problem. It couldn't have been me. Well, yeah, it was me. I was the whole problem the whole time. But what I think led me to that kind of belief, and maybe you can relate to this, maybe you can't, maybe you're very satisfied with your weight. I talk to guys that get on my calendar and they've got 100 pounds to lose, 150 pounds to lose, and they're very happy with their life. And I say, hey, God bless you. That's great. And so if you're happy with your obesity, that's fine. And obesity is not a negative term. It's a statistic. It's literally just a measurement. I was morbidly obese. If you're over 40 BMI, and you can argue with the BMI tables all you want to, but if you're over 40 BMI, you're morbidly obese. I was morbidly obese. I was, I think, a 45 on the BMI chart. And people say, well, that's not accurate. That's kind of average. Yeah, but 304 pounds, 5'11", it's not that inaccurate. So when I looked at all that, I came to all these coping mechanisms that I had, and I was embarrassed of my weight. I mean, I tried, and I'm always fascinated by the men that I talk to that really, they're just not ready, and it's okay. I get it, but they're the coping mechanisms, because I had them too, and I get it. I had them. I was always going to lose the weight, and everything else was going right. And I'll get to that one day. And no, it's not that important, because I really didn't want to do the work. And when I was on, you know, I came to this belief that I had, that was just, it was so much based in the fact that weight comes on very subtly and slow. I mean, you know, if you gain 30 pounds over a 6-month period, and that's a lot of weight to gain, but people do it every day, you're probably going to look in the mirror and not notice that big a difference. You're going to tell that your pants probably are a couple inches, 2 to 3 inches too tight in the waist if you're a guy. Lady is going to, you know, dress is going to fit a little bit tighter, but you really don't see it. So you become this, you get into this belief that nobody knows that you're obese. You're 275 pounds at 5'2". You're 380 pounds at 6'2". And I'm just pulling arbitrary numbers because you're 450 pounds at 5'8". I mean, these are individuals I've talked to. And it took you years to get there. So you believe that no one really notices. But deep down inside, and I'm not saying you should care so much about what everybody thinks, but it's just, we're human. But you become of this belief that nobody really can tell, and that you can put on a dark suit or black pants, and nobody's going to tell until you get in that airplane and you're on the runway and they say fasten your seatbelts, and you're dreading for that time when that seatbelt comes across your lap and it doesn't fit. You've got a decision to make. You got to have your seatbelt on, and you got to raise your hand. If the stewardess doesn't come by, you got to raise your hand and say you need that extender. And the humiliation that comes with things like that, or you sit in a chair where you literally, the sides of the arms of the chair get stuck on your backside because it's so wide. Or you sit it, or even worse, you sit in a chair and it collapses. But you're still of this belief that nobody can really tell how fat you are, how obese you are, how morbid. Fat's a derogatory term. Obese and morbidly obese are just statistical terms, I guess you'd call it. And you become of this belief that nobody really can tell, and it doesn't really matter that much. Can somebody pass the pizza or pass the whatever? Because I just want to eat. Because I walk by the window of a store, and I look in that window and see my reflection, and I see that there's two of me there in this one body. And when you go to a restaurant and you sit down and eat, and you're wondering if people are watching you because they see how big you are, and those kind of feelings well up in a lot of people. Or you take your shirt off in front of your wife, and you wonder, what she's really thinking. Is that really very appealing? Or like I had a guy that, I mentioned this the other day, that he's never struggled with weight. He's a coach, and he just sees obese people as invisible. I'm like, wow. And so we can feel that. So you can believe that you're hiding your obesity, your morbid obesity, because it came on slowly. Or you can just admit that you got an issue with it. And that's what happened to me, is I realized that everybody knew already. And so I could run from every diet that I got on, but I could never hide the weight, because you can't. They don't make clothes. They don't make tents big enough to hide all the weight that I was carrying. It was obvious. And I don't say this lightly or aloof. It's a real thing. And then I could say that, well, my health's not that bad, because it wasn't. I had, relatively good health. But I also knew statistically that I wasn't going to live as long if I didn't get the weight off. I could say that, I could walk into a meeting. I was in sales, and I could walk into a meeting with somebody, and I could say that my weight didn't bother me or keep me or hold me back in some way, but it did. It did. It stopped me. And I could say that I was really living out the kind of future I believed I was destined to live, but that would be a lie, because I wasn't. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it because of this weight. This weight was just killing me because I knew everybody saw it. I saw it. And it wasn't that I was trying to please anybody else. It was just that I knew that I was walking failure with my weight. One of my clients who's absolutely rocking his world, he's dropping weight like crazy. And he made a comment, I believe it was something like, if your body were your business, would you be bankrupt? I'm like, wow, that's powerful. And these guys, they come up with stuff, and while they're losing weight, while they're figuring out, they've got this amazing power between their ears that is really the solution to their obesity. And it's so much fun to watch it take place. And I'm like, I mean, they're losing weight over Thanksgiving and Christmas. They come into my program before Thanksgiving. Who does that in your right mind? It's a weight loss program. Are you kidding me? And they come in and they drop weight. And I'm like, dang, how cool is that? And they're becoming the hero of their own story. And it's fun to see. But is it easy? No, it's not. Will it ever be easy? Probably not. But is it simple? Yeah. I mean, and people say to me a lot, sometime I'm going to read all the obstacles that men have listed as obstacles to their weight loss. And it's so interesting to read it. And I'm just going to list them off. There's like hundreds, and I've got hundreds and hundreds of these forms, and I would never divulge anybody's name personally, but the excuses are what I would call it, because I had the same ones. Every one of them I've seen before, because they happened between my ears first. I'm like, dang, that's me. That's how I was. But all of these reasons, but the real reason we have to all admit starts right between our elbows. And that's the reason that it feels like failure when you don't. And it becomes to the point where you just don't believe it is possible. But I'm here to tell you right now, it's 100% possible if you do the work. Is it easy? Nope. It's not easy. But is it possible? Yes. And I'm saying to you that there's a vein of gold running within you that you'll discover. And you can have all the coping mechanisms in the world, but when you get your weight off, you're going to discover a vein of gold that you didn't know was there. And it's going to be something that surprises you. I don't have a clue what it'll be, but it'll be something that'll awaken you. It's like one of the men in my program. He's announced to the world that he's going to be an American Ninja Warrior next year. This time he's going to try out for it. Now, a year and a half ago, the guy was 275 pounds at 5'6". He didn't look like much of a ninja warrior. Now he's doing these incredible things. I've got men that are dating that weren't dating before. You may have a perfect life except for your weight, but if you have to say except for your weight, do you have a perfect life? People tell me, well, medically I'm in great shape. Medically, I'm in great shape. Doctor says for a fat guy, I'm in really good shape. For a guy that's 200 pounds overweight, I'm in great shape. Well, yeah, I was too. But that begs the question, do you consider 200 pounds a medical issue, extra pounds? I think anybody in the right mind would say yes. 129 pounds extra on me was certainly a medical condition. It was a time bomb. So I'm not saying any of this, and I get on these lives and I ramble, but I'm just telling you what's on my heart. I know what it feels like. And listen, God bless you. If your weight, if you have 50, 100, 150, 200, 300 pounds to lose, it doesn't bother you, don't listen to me. But if you know it's holding you back, why don't you book a call with me? Go to transformmyfuture.com/apply. And let's figure out what is holding you back from, because that's really the question you need to be asking. And let's map out a strategy to reach your ideal weight. And I'm going to do something on January 1st because it should be listed as National Diet Day. What I do is not a diet. If you're looking for a diet, Google, there's tons of them. I can send you links to all kinds of diets, and they all work at some level. Some better than others. You can get an argument about that, but if you're 150 pounds overweight, one of them will work, I guarantee you. But if you're really looking to change forever, that's what Rethink Dieting is. So jump on. I'm doing a free live training. It's going to be live 2 o'clock on New Year's Day. It's going to be the day that you're probably listed as your day to start weight loss. And I'm going to walk you through 5-step strategy that I use to lose my weight. That really, that I'm going to go dive deep. It's about an hour-long video. It's not a video. It's going to be done live. You'll be able to get in chat and ask me questions. And I look forward, really to a lot of people being on. There's only 100 spots. Angie may make a cameo. I haven't told her that yet, but she might make a cameo, which she's much prettier than I am. I have a hot wife, just for the record. But guys, look at this as something that's real, and stop running. If you've been running from your diets, you can run, but you can't hide the weight. You just can't. And jump on that webinar. It's a training. It'll, like I said, last about an hour. There's a link that's in this feed that you can click there and you can register, because the first 100 people are the ones that are going to be on it. But I hope this speaks to you. I hope it encourages you that weight loss is possible, because it is 100% possible. Just because you haven't done it before doesn't mean that it's not possible. So I'm seeing guys do it every single day, and it's fun to watch. So, and anyway, Jan Michael, how long did you do it? It took me 260 days to lose 129 pounds. That's a great question. How long did I do it? I guess that's the question there. So I hope that helps. But guys, have a great night. Post your questions. I'll answer those, and then click on the links that are in this video, and look forward to seeing you guys on January 1st, and actually see you tomorrow too. So have a great evening. Bye-bye.